You can't kill the facts. You can do what you want to slander them, but you'll never destroy them. That's always going to be there. That question's always going to be there. The fact that the police never, ever did a correct, that case was disgusting. And the fact that the children stated that in those cult was police, Cathcast, social services, and so on and so forth, that should have stated to everybody now that, hang on, and of course that there's police involvement in here. And don't forget, yeah, you've got police now, yeah, that have leaked a video that was on John's computers because they was going to destroy it. So it was leaked out there, and who's used it? The Hoaxtead. So you now know there's a connection. So who's leaking to who here, people?
There's a point. No, the police confiscated the equipment, so the police are the only ones with control over the equipment. So they must have went in to the equipment, tapped into it, took out from the equipment that they're the only ones who have control of it, and then released it, published it, without the knowledge of John Patterson. That's the point. Mm-hmm. Is that correct? Am I telling it correct?
They've leaked it to wherever they've leaked it. Hoaxtead's used it. Yeah, right. Hoaxtead's used it.
So that's the proof then. Mm-hmm. There's a link between somebody inside the police and Hoaxtead. Mm-hmm. There's a link there because there's nobody else that can get access to that equipment. Is that correct?
Yeah, because it was in the police custody. Because it was in the police custody.
Yeah.
So there's a leak from within inside.
So that's the evidence. Yeah. Nobody can get out of that. No. It's irrefutable. Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah.
We've got Shiva Burton on here now. Ex-cop DC Savage was not present during the police interviews. Shiva Burton knows more than the police. Well, you know who Shiva Burton is, don't we? Now, Shiva Burton, yeah, may God have mercy on your soul, darling, and may you soon waken up, because it's coming, the truth's coming out, mate. Yeah, there's no two ways about it, and you need to know that, because this ain't going to stop me, because there's too much truth out there now, and there's too many people awake to it now, and you best clean your house up, because it's coming. There's no two ways about it. There's no escaping it now. I'll repost the hundreds of death threats I received from John Patterson. Shiva, you deserved every one of them. You deserved every one of them, mate, because you're nasty people. You're really nasty people, and you say some very nasty things about people, don't you? And you spread a lot of lies about people, don't you? I.e. Matt Taylor, myself, and everybody else. And you're working with an organisation which is covering up a satanic cult. So you deserve everything you get. Liar, HopeGirl did an interview about it with Angie. I deserve death threats. You deserve everything you've got coming, darling, and karma takes its course. It's not up to me or anybody else to give you death threats, because I don't want you dead. I just want you to be aware of what it is you're doing and who it is you're helping. And when you do, then you're going to have to answer for that. You yourself, like I keep telling everybody, yeah, nobody hurt you more than you can hurt yourself. So Shiva, go and have yourself look yourself straight in that mirror and say, ask yourself, do you 100% know that those children were lying? That you've done. You know everything that you're doing right now, and everything you're doing right now, yeah, you will have to answer for it. So if these children, when these children are proven to be true, everything that you're saying, you're going to have to answer for it. So do I think you should be put in a chipper? Do I think you should be killed? I think there's enough people that have committed suicide that why did they want to kill themselves? So when it comes to it and you wake up to what you're doing, I think you'll be the one that will need reframing, because you'll be killing yourself, because you'll want to kill yourself, because you'll want out of this world that you now realize there is a different world. There is a world with light in it, not the light, not the dark that you're right now trapped into it. I can easily look into the mirror, given that I began the anti-child abuse rallies 26 years ago. You freak. Now, I didn't call you a freak, Shiva. Yeah, we can keep this nice and pleasant, like, yeah, we can keep this pleasant. I can keep it pleasant. I hope you can, because if you've got strength inside yourself, and stop it. And I tell you what, yeah, as I've always said with all these Hoaxtead lot, if I could just bring one of you to the light, yeah, you could do so much great work, because you know full well all the organizations, you know your connections to MI5, MI6 and GCHQ, you know all of the ongoing and the uncleanness that you're all mingled with, and all the groups, the other groups that you've got under your control. Yeah,
come clean.
Come clean.
Come clean. A whistleblower. Come clean.
Mm-hmm.
Be honest for once in your life. You know, King Alfred believed in God. If it's good enough for King Alfred, it's good enough for us. If King Edward the Confessor,
Shiva, you say to me, pleasant, but I deserve death threats. None of your business. None of your business, and you are getting more disgusting by the minute. Shiva, you deserve death threats. You know what people say? I say about a lot of people, yeah. You know what what you've got to understand is what you're being right now. You're being that person that goes and sticks a pin in somebody, yeah, and then they shout, and you're going, "You bastard! Why are you shouting? Why are you shouting?" Well, you stuck the pin in, Shiva. You stuck the pin in. Because why are you covering up when all we've ever asked for, yeah, is a proper and fair trial and justice for those children? And if you're saying you love children, yeah, and you're going out spreading your lies and calling and saying all you're saying and doing all your videos and like all your rest of it, all the rest of them Hoaxtead lot, yeah, how can you justify yourself and what you lot are doing and all the Hoaxtead are doing by calling me Andrew O'Neill, by calling me fucking saying I put £50,000 into a business of John Winoa? These are all lies, my friend. These are all lies. And you can go out saying all your lies and expect nothing to be said back to you. You expect to try and put everybody in this world, yeah, with your lies, going along with all the other groups, yeah, to try and find that one crazy person that will listen to you enough that will come and kill me. Do you think I'm not stupid? Do you think I do not know what you lot are doing to try and get me silenced? Because you're not, none of you can do it, can you? Because you're all under the influence. Because I've encouraged thousands of people to expose real crime for decades. Shiva, I would like to see one of your crimes that you've done. I don't know you. I don't know you. And obviously Shiva Burton, is that your real name? Have you got a real name? Because you know what my name is? Andrew Devine. And do you know why I know that? That's because my mum told me my name was Andrew. And do you know why my name is Devine? Because that's the family name. That's the family name of my father. Okay? And my mum and dad called me Andrew. And you know what? Since I was born, since I came onto this planet, my name's always been Andrew Devine. But you lot can seem to think my name's Andrew O'Neill, and that's fine. But your name's Shiva Burton. Is it really? Love to see if it is. We're going to find out, because everything's going to be nothing's going to be all truth will be coming out. That's why I say you need to clean your house up. Repent, Shiva. Repent while you still can.
My great uncle, Admiral John Jervis, he stood on the ship. Hang on, Shane, tell us what's happening, Shane. What's?
Listen, I'll tell you when I see you at 6 o'clock, okay?
No, you won't. You won't tell. We're on live stream now. There's 10 million.
You want to put...
Can I add a piece to that? As a former police officer of 20 years, I had the opportunity of actually sitting with a mother, in this case for 3 hours. I can absolutely tell you, with my experience of interrogation over a 20-year period, as a former detective sergeant, she was speaking 110% truth. I know there's been no investigation, there's been no proper police statement taken from this woman because of the way she's been harassed. I also know that we have child abuse in this country to epidemic levels. I was on Saturday sitting with a former MP from the Home Office who categorically stated to me that we've got now about 1 in 10 children being abused. And we have a
synopsis here. Let me just see if I can say how I understood it. So as I understand it, you were kind of groomed by Ray and invited to come to his quite lavish estate in Suffolk.
Yes.
And then kind of became his girlfriend and were reassured that his wife was his ex-wife and she only lived on the estate for logistical reasons and so on and so forth. And then you found yourself co-hosting with him somewhat the project Hijacked, which was your family's project, and weirdness going on, kind of Scientology type weirdness going on.
Let me go back. Let me start and let me paraphrase it.
Okay, good.
So Ray
well, I wasn't doing too bad though, was I?
No, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. Just don't want people to get too confused. And by the way, I'm not really proud about this, and the only reason why I'm coming out and telling people about this experience is because he was active in the Hoaxtead case, and people were using him.
And that made you uncomfortable. Given your experience, that made you uncomfortable.
I was just like, look, I don't really know anything about the Hoaxtead case. I don't know any of the people involved. I wasn't even following it until just recently when I became a target because of it, because of whatever. So, but when I saw Ray coming out and all these people celebrating him as being this giant hero, I was just like, look, I can tell you about him. And there was some weird stuff. So anyway, Ray and I were part of an online group. It was one of those many Skype groups. At the time, I was part of all these different Skype groups that were involved in energy and co-creating a new world and a new paradigm. And, I'm going to do, hydroponics, and I'll do organic food, and I'll do free energy, like all these different groups. And every one of these groups had all of these regular meetings every week, these long conference calls, and I was involved in so many of them. So that's one of those groups, and I won't name names just to keep everybody out of it, but Ray was in one of those groups with me, and that's how we knew about each other. And then when Ray decided or found out that I was going to be traveling to the UK to present my free energy device at a conference in the UK, he contacted me. He sought me out and said, I want to come meet you. I want to host you. I'm so excited about what you're doing. And he's much, much older than me, so I wasn't like thinking along those lines at all. So I was just like, okay, sure, fine. I was a little too open. I'm not like that anymore, but I was like, yay, everybody just wants to like do the right thing and be good. And so he came to the conference. The conference turned out to be horrible. The whole thing just kind of like exploded. That's in the book as well. The conference presenter did a really bad job. And then I went and spoke at another conference on the same weekend that was run by Sasha Stone, and that was a good experience. And I put that in the book as well. And because Ray had met me, I told everybody at the conference, I made an announcement saying, the next stop, my family is going to Morocco. And by the way, I was traveling in England alone, completely alone. I was in Taiwan with my family, and I left my family in Taiwan, and I flew from Taiwan by myself to go to England. And, I was a little afraid to be traveling alone like that out of my home country.
Why was your family in Taiwan?
Because we were building the QEG in Taiwan.
And why were you building it there?
Because before we had open sourced it, there was a Taiwan group that had been in contact with us. And so they funded for us to come over to build it with them.
Wow.
And then from there, I went to England to give this presentation at a conference. And then I made this announcement at the conference because we had crowdfunded a public build. See, the Taiwan wasn't public. That was a group of people that wanted us to come, and they paid for our tickets.
Okay.
Put us up in a house, right?
And how long did you spend there? I'm just curious.
About 2 weeks.
Oh, okay. So it was like a quick visit to Taiwan, which was funded. Come over here and show us what you're doing. We're excited about it.
Yeah.
And then you did a side trip to the UK because you started to get invited to conferences to speak about it.
Yeah, because I wanted to promote the project. I wanted people to know about what we were doing. And there was this big conference in the UK, and all these big speakers were going to be there. And I just thought, if I could be on the same stage as all of those people, it would be a really great way to promote the project and get the awareness out. So I did that. And that's when Ray met up with me. But I had already, before even leaving the US on this, I was touring from country to country, right?
Wow.
So I went from there we had crowdfunded a public build in Morocco. And when I say public, it's very different than private, because private is, you know, only who's invited gets to go to that build.
Okay.
We actually opened up the barn doors and we said, anybody that wants to come, you can all come.
Wow.
So 80 people showed up from 27 countries in Morocco.
80 people?
Yeah, at this build. and so Ray this is very interesting time in my life, to say the least. So Ray Savage, he said, I want to go to Morocco. I'm coming to Morocco, and I'm bringing all these people with me. So he showed up at the build in Morocco. And it was in Morocco at the build that he started coming on to me, and we started dating. You know, like I said, I'm not proud of it. I don't want to talk too much about that because I just want to be respectful to my partner and my family and everything. So, but he's much older than me, and he was very charismatic, and he's got a lot of money, and he has this giant estate in a very wealthy area of England. And the first thing he said was, I want you to come after Morocco. He's like, I want you to come onto my farm. Come to my farm and come build the QEG on my farm. I'll give you everything you need. I'll pay for everything. I'll take care of you and your family. We'll do a big party at my house on the farm. And I just went for it, hook, line, and sinker. We were planning on going back home to America after Morocco, but we ended up going to England directly from Morocco.
Wow.
Our whole family was there.
Wow.
And he put us up in his house. And what happened on the farm, I mean, the whole experience from country to country was amazing. It's a really interesting story. But I have to say that the UK build on Ray's farm was probably the craziest part of the entire QEG Chronicles saga. It's really, I mean, the stuff that we went through there was just really mind-blowing to me, and I had no idea. I just thought, you know, English, they just have an accent different than Americans. Like, that's all I really thought, but there was like all of this weird stuff going on. And I put it in the book, like there's a Bilderberg, sorry. A Bilderberg living right next door to Ray's farm, and Ray knows him. There was
Do you know his name? Do you want to share his name?
I don't know his name.
Okay.
He was just referred to as the Bilderberg that lives next door.
Right.
And he wouldn't tell me his name. I lived on that farm with Ray for 2 months. So the stuff that I'm telling in my book was not like, oh, I just met him in passing. It's like,
no. Yeah, that's, excuse me one second. Keep talking, I'm listening. But that's what shocked me when you said, look, I've got some stories to tell. You weren't kidding. Like, this was a story, you know?
Well, there was a lot of different groups coming on and off this property. There was like
was it like a commune? Was it like an upper class commune?
Yeah. And you know, just to be open about it, this is where I met Devine, you know, the love of my life, and my partner that I'm with now. I met him at this build.
Okay.
While this was going on. So, you know, I won't bring him into the conversation, but he's right here listening to everything I'm saying. So,
yeah.
You know, it's like,
so good came out of it, but it was a very bizarre experience.
For this, I never would have met Devine, and so I'm grateful for that.
Yeah.
Right? But so the bizarre experience was there was lots of toing and froing. There was lots of groups and people coming in from all over the place. There was this like ritual group that was all men that was coming to do like healing, sacred rites of passage ceremonies in the woods.
Yeah, weird.
They would just go and do private man stuff in the woods, and they would like cry about themselves and like overcome their fears. Or I really don't know, because I wasn't.
It sounds like Scientology. It sounds like
it might have been.
It sounds like Est or Scientology or some kind of like, you know, like bromance bonding, but it also seemed a little bit ritualistic, so it was concerning.
Yeah, there was dance parties too. He brought me to these dance parties where people would dance their feelings away. where they would play this like trancey music for a couple of hours, and everybody would get really, really sweaty, and it was like all like super sexually charged as well. So
yeah, it could have been just new age, but it also it seemed to have an edge to it that was a bit ritualistic, a little bit concerning, given what was going on with the Hampstead.
Well, I think the most important part, and then there was a billionaire. He calls himself the crazy billionaire. I won't say his name, but if you look it up, you can find it. Let's just leave it at that. He calls himself, and he was a really nice guy. I met this guy, and he came in his helicopter, so you can see the footage of the helicopter, and I went for a ride in his helicopter, and me and the billionaire actually had a great conversation. We had this like little business meeting. But it was weird because there was this other guy that showed up, because it was all about the free energy device. So all these people came in, and they flew in from all over the place, and they were staying on the farm. They came in from several different countries. A couple of them flew in from Hong Kong, and they were on this farm at this build, right? And it was a private build, so it was invite only. And we hand-selected some of the engineers that came to the build, and then other people were selected by Ray. And the people that showed up there was this Dutch guy who was involved, and he had these 3 women that followed him around that he called his angels. And they did these like new age business consultation things called constellations. And so we got involved in this constellation session, and it was just weird. It was so many different levels of weird, and I was extremely frustrated because I was like, I'm responsible for this project. I'm trying to get parts shipped in so we could put the parts together so we could do the engineering. I'm trying to make sure everybody has a bed to sleep in. I was organizing all the meals, and there's 20 people at this build.
It's huge logistics.
Right? So I was doing all the logistics. Meanwhile, while that's going on, there was a lot of promiscuous behavior.
Yeah.
Okay, that was the part that bothered me the most. I mean, the people were jumping in and out of everybody's beds. I don't know how else to put it, and I could see it. And there was a hotel right next to the farm, so like they would like go in and out of the hotel, and they were like running around middle of the night meeting up. Ray was dating me while this was happening, so we were dating, but he was leaving me locked up in his house while he went and jumped around with other women while I was living at his house.
It's very cult. It sounds very cult-like, which is what put the red flags up for me. Sounds like very cultish behavior.
And it wasn't just one woman, it was like 6 that I knew of. And the reason why I say this is because I was in denial. I was like, no, that can't be. No. And people were trying to tell me, they were like, one woman who was not involved with him, I don't think, she came up to me and she said, if you get stuck here and you need a place to go, here's my number, you can come and I'll help you. Because she knew that I was like vulnerable, and she knew him, she knew Ray, and she's like, I'll come stay at my house if you need to like get away.
Oh, that's so sweet.
You know, it was really, really sweet of her. So and I was like, no, I'm fine. I can handle this, you know, and anyway, so,
oh my
you leave it blunt, right? So the thing is that all this was going on. There was so many things. It's all in the book.
Something else I want to highlight just from the Hampstead perspective, and again, we've prayed, so I'm not being bitchy or gossipy, but from the context that I'm coming, I think I'm right in saying that when you kind of woke up and realized that this was like cultish, and he had a harem of women, and there were weird comings and goings and whatever, and then, if I'm not mistaken, you and several of the other concubines, as I would call them, you got together and kind of shared information, and something that really concerned me was one of the women had children and said she was uncomfortable with the kind of rituals they were doing in the forest with regard to her children. So therefore, that really tainted his testimony for me as being this upstanding detective that was investigating the cult in you know, the alleged cult in Hampstead. It started to, the lines were blurring, and I was thinking, red flag, what's going on here?
Well, I want to describe that a little bit more. Several of Ray's girlfriends that he had going on at the same time as he was with me, they all started contacting me after I left the farm. I went back to the United States, and I started getting emails and Facebook messages, and one little tidbit after the other started coming out. And one of them, was like, "Oh, I didn't know that he was with you," because the other thing he was doing is he was introducing us to each other, because he like got off on that or something. I'm not really, it was weird. Like he would say, "Oh, she's just a friend. Oh, she's just a friend." And then he'd have the two of us join him together at a coffee shop so we could all sit around a table and get to know each other. And he was just sitting there like, "Oh, isn't this great? Look at me and all my women." It was like really ugly stuff, right? Sure, you know how I made. No,
I was, when I was around a cult, which what I now know to have been a cult in the 80s, which was EST, or the Forum, or Erhard Seminar Training, or Landmark Institute. It keeps renaming and reinventing itself. But that was very much a side effect of that human development movement. You know, the main thrust of it was to change the world and end hunger and take a stand, make a difference, and so on. But meanwhile, all the normal boundaries of normal human society were being broken down. And I'll give you the most pertinent example of seeing that. A university professor at the City of London, I think it was City of London University, he had I think it was 13 children by 8 women, and he used to insist that they all went camping for 2 weeks every summer. And so he would be there with his harem and all the offspring, and just insist that everybody have the most amazing time together, and like, and there were no issues, and you know, and like polyamory and whatever, and like, oh, they all love each other, and I got pulled into that web for a while. And one of my best school friends has 2 children to him, and I watched her. I'd been at school with her like from 12, 13, 14, and I'd watch, and then I'd shared a house with her in London, and then I watched her get involved with him, and she got completely sucked into this thing about, oh, he's got lots of women, but I'm cool with that. It's okay. And, you know, and like, you know, and we all go camping together and nobody gets jealous. And I'm like, give me a break. This guy is just riding on a pig's back and making a fool out of all of you. And his last addition to the harem, he was 40 something and a professor. And the latest mother of children that he introduced was an 18-year-old student from university. He used to groom them and then mind control them and convince them all that if they were jealous or insecure in this loving, open human experiment, they had an issue and he could help them process it.
Well, you know, and I heard you tell that story on a show that the first show that you did on CCN, and that's actually part of the reason why I reached out to you. That and, you know, praying with the Holy Spirit and the armor of God. I heard you tell that story, and I was like, I've got to tell this woman.
Absolutely.
And I noticed that he was on your friends list, so I was like, on Facebook, right? So I was like,
Ray Savage, he still is, and I probably need to fix that. And I don't mean the. Well, I don't mean the guy any harm, but there's some weird shit going on which kind of taints his authority as being a primary witness in the Hampstead cult.
And even after all of this, I don't mean him any harm either.
No.
I think he just kind of slipped into his own life again, and I don't know what's going on with him at all.
But it's still going on. He's gravitating or networking with people that keep trying to do this new age, new world, let's all do this.
And people are still using his video as a
detective, a respectable, upstanding British detective.
Just 1 month ago, SGT Report, who I really respect, and I think he's got a great channel, and Sean does not know about this. And I wish Sean talked to me, right? Like, contact me and I'll tell you all about it. We can have a chat because I love his work. And he was using a video of Ray Savage to kind of like add power to a testimony. And,
I know.
And I know it was with the right intention.
Yeah.
I'm just wanting people to say, like, use something else. I don't know anything about the case, but don't use him. The other thing that you really need to realize about Ray is that for his entire life, for multiple decades, he was an interrogation officer. He said detective, but he was an interrogation officer. He was the guy on the other side of the table that would interrogate somebody to make them fess up or whatever. So when you want to talk about mind manipulation stuff, I experienced a lot of it while we were dating. And he's very charismatic, and he's really good at that. So.
It's like a boiling frog syndrome. When I know this from experience, when you're mixing with people like that and they're charismatic and they're impressive and they're seductive and they're grooming you, it's like a boiling frog thing. You don't realize until you get away, you don't realize how actually toxic and dangerous that kind of behavior is. Destructive. It's destructive.
Well, I know that since this thing came out, that there's been some blog posts that are put out there about the whole thing, especially with the satanic group that's been kind of like on me or whatever. And I don't watch.
Oh, I've got some good news about that.
Oh, that's wonderful. But
well,
I just want people to know that. This is what happened. It's in my book. It's been in my book out there for years now. At least 5,000 people have read it. A lot of people picked up on who it was. We all make mistakes, and we can all come around. And I just wanted to, I guess, put it out there. And also to say that a lot of these things are other people's stories with him as well, because afterwards, I was getting a lot of emails from the other women in his life. Some of them were asking if I would be interested in participating in a healing circle, specifically to heal from Ray Savage. Like they wanted to start like a support group to heal from Ray Savage.
Wow.
Which I was like, no, I really just want to move on with my life. And I told Ray to get lost. I told him, and it's in my book how he did it. I just said, don't ever contact me again. And that was the last time we spoke. And I cut him out of all my communications. But anyway, so that's it. If you have any other questions around the Ray thing, if not, I'm dying to know the news about the.
Yeah, well, I'll move on to the news, although I'm probably a bit premature, but let me do it anyway because that's my style. Because I'm not into playing games or strategizing. I don't even want to be put on any pedestal as a journalist. I'm a survivor committed to exposing evil and creating a safer world for children. That's it. I don't need to be on, I don't need any labels. But somebody contacted me and said that there are 17 people running the Hoaxtead site.
Wow.
And at least 2 of them are documented pedophiles, including the pseudonym Spiny Norman. And I'm hoping to have forwarded to me the newspaper report of that person's real name and conviction for paedophilia. So 17 people running Hoaxtead or regularly contributing. We know Doug Mesner's one. We know Sue Melrose is one. But Spiny Norman and another are documented paedophiles with convictions. So... without jinxing it, that's in the pipeline to get those details.
Well, that's really promising, and I'd like to kind of, I guess, let me say this for the record.
Okay.
So I am Naima. I am HopeGirl. I started the Fix the World thing back in 2012. I grew an audience by writing different blog posts. I have a whole history of stuff I've done back then. Then I went on to CCN. And by being on CCN, while I was targeted by people in the free energy circles, because they're like their own circle of
yeah, that's a minefield. That is a minefield.
And, you know, people in those circles are people like Mark Dancy, and overunity.com, and there's, you know, they're well-known malicious, like, groups that have been put out there to try to stop and vent.
So, Andy, you need to check a blog. No, I've told you now, I'm done with them all now. I'm done with them all, mate. There's nothing that they can do. There's nothing that they can say. None of them will come on to me. You know, it's all this, I do this. It's just shape-shifting all the time, so I'm done with them. I've tried my best. I've tried my hardest. You know, end of the day, what more can be done? They can say whatever they want to say. There's so many of them. I'm just keeping. I'm going to expose them. There's a Kimberly Young. A Kimberly Young that came on. Comes on with a female profile picture, but it's not a female as far as I'm concerned. It's, you know, that's what I'm trying to say to people. You don't understand unless you know who's behind that profile. You don't know who that profile is, and there's so many of them. I mean, the likes of who we were stating earlier, like, you know, Yolanda Kenwood. You know, she's got several. You know, they've got multiple accounts, and they use these multiple accounts to give credit to themselves. So they'll make a comment and they'll come on with another profile which is the same person, and they'll big up their own comment to make it look, you know, to validate it. And these people, you know, you've got to understand who these people are. So, you know, who am I dealing with? Well, we're dealing with deceitful people, mate. And like I say, I don't do deals with the devils. So these people are what they are. And as far as it all stems from, you know, as Dave was asking me, where did it all stem from? That's where it all stemmed from. This just went, instead of just coming and getting that one thing sorted out, which Nathan could have done, you know, we could have done all that, but instead he just went dig and dig and dig and dig. He says, oh, you asked me to come with facts. And he comes with facts from the Hoaxtead research, who, by the way, I've been exposing since 2015. You know, these people have been all over me. You should have seen my YouTube channels. They never used to come on Facebook. My YouTube channels were absolutely inundated. It was ridiculous. And remember, I don't get to see. They don't notify me. They don't get to notify me. Yeah, they don't tell me all the things. They take videos down.
Naima, one of my previous guests, formerly a fellow broadcaster. There's been some successes. CCN, the network I broadcast with, and several of the broadcasters, including myself, have got 2 trolling YouTube channels taken down finally after a year and a half probably. We got McKenzie's Devils taken down with I think 500 videos on it. We got Remember the Devils, which they put up as soon as we got the other one taken down. We got 40 videos on that. We got that shut down. They've made another one the devil rises from the ashes like the phoenix or some such crap. We're getting that one taken down. So we're having some successes there.
I'm looking at this website right here, which is talking about, this is HopeGirl blog.
Yeah, now she's a good person.
Right, she's pointing it out as a GCHQ hoax, which sounds remarkably similar to some of the efforts that have been put up to try to stop me from sharing information precisely like the information you're sharing with us right now.
Exactly, high level, super sensitive, very consequential, important information, and then it's almost like a program is launched on you.
I was speaking with Colin Collins. He was telling me about he'd just been having a go with the Hoaxtead, and because he came to me and he said, "Did you hear about? Have you seen this? I think they've just incriminated themselves." I don't know if you remember when John Patterson was attacked when he was camping. He was attacked when he was camping. They tried to kill him when he was camping. That something got took away. Yeah. Now John Patterson, when he was going camping, the trolls, these Hoaxtead trolls, yeah, they were saying like, we've seen him getting into his car with his camping gear and stuff like this. And Colin came to me and says, "Have you seen that?" And I says, "No, I haven't seen any notifications." He said, "I've been chatting on there for ages." And I looked on there and I saw 7 comments on my YouTube, on my laptop. It said there were 7 comments on this particular video. And I went onto my phone and I opened it up. Yeah, because I don't normally do it on that. I normally do it all on YouTube. So I went on my YouTube on my phone, and it said there was, I think it was about 70 odd comments. Yeah, on my laptop it said 7. You know what I mean? And I'm like, what the fuck? And like, Colin was taking screenshots and sending me the screenshots of where they were saying that they was incriminating themselves by saying they was fucking watching him. They saw him putting his camping gear in the car, because this is when John had been attacked.
Do you regret what you've done?
Absolutely. It's been a long process. I'm looking forward to putting this all behind me and moving on with my life and making sure this never happens again.
It starts to impact you and it's hurtful, and you have your weekends and friends will say to you, "Crikey, we've read all this stuff about you on the internet. What on earth is going on?" And over a period of time it really starts to chip away at you.
I think we've got some Hoaxtead people outside. We'll soon find out on the Hoaxtead blog. These are them. They were the blonde lady. The blonde lady was in court. No, this is out here. These are taking film.
Yeah, no, they're outside the gate.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Yeah. He said I couldn't take film. And I said, well, they are. He said, yeah, but they're outside. I said, so am I now.
Cool boundary, yeah.
Here comes Matt Taylor. You've got a suspended sentence, thank God.
Hello. Who are you from? I am certainly. I can't make any more comments because the last one I want to do is put myself in any more contempt. But I really appreciate you asking for comments, and I'd love to speak more about it. Have you got any questions you'd like to ask me?
Do you regret what you've done?
Absolutely. It's been a long process.
I'm looking forward to putting this all behind me and moving on with my life and making sure this never happens again.
The judge described the harassment of the commissioner as extreme. Do you accept that?
I reject that. And I mean, I don't want to say too much because I've just been on a precipice of going to jail. So I'd like to answer no questions about the case, if that's okay. But Katie Bourne, well, I hope I haven't contempt myself just by saying her name. But Katie Bourne knows how I feel about it. So please ask her.
Yeah. Would you like to apologise?
I'm sorry, Katie Bourne, for causing you distress, and I hope I get an apology, vice versa. Okay, and thanks. So what's your name?
Thank you very much. Can I get a shot of you as you walk off?
Yeah.
Which way are you going?
Oh, I don't know which way you want me to be. No, I find it. So when is this going to be reported on?
It's just for the evening news tonight.
Oh, okay, on a bit on
Charlotte, I think you should know who I am. You should know who I am.
Okay.
All you have to do is Google John Patterson, that's me, 1T. Google John Patterson reporting Sussex Police.
Okay.
I have tons of evidence of corruption involving Sussex Police and Katie Bourne. I work with an ex-Crime Stoppers board member, Mr. Brian Setchfield, who witnessed a murder in the Bohemia Road police station in East Sussex. Katie Bourne and Giles, who's the other guy?
Giles York?
No, it's not Giles York. Mark Streeter have covered up these crimes. For me reporting these crimes, I was sentenced to 21 days in prison, and I don't apologise to Katie Bourne, who I've proved is a major fraudster. Now, if they want to come after me and put me in that court, I will bring all the evidence.
Okay.
And also,
I'm all over the internet.
Katie Bourne made new allegations about me in the Mail on Sunday that I filmed her outside our house, which I found that quite distressing myself because I've never filmed her outside our house. Right. And these were allegations that weren't made originally on the 25th of April court hearing. She also made allegations that I was sexually obsessed and fixated with her. Again, these are new. And so I felt aggrieved because new allegations were being made about me, and I wasn't able to give my side of the story back. Okay. But because of this now, this is finished as far as I'm concerned. Been a line on this. I'm moving on. I'm sure Katie Bourne wants to move on. And actually, I'd love to be able to be friends with Katie Bourne in some kind of future, because...
Are you serious?
No, because I say this, John, because ultimately I'm still interested in politics. I was a parliamentary candidate in 2015, Brighton Kent Town, and I ran in that too. And I'm sure our paths will cross in the future. And I don't want... And even though this will sour our relationship, I want this to, so we can both put this behind us and we can move on. Things were said on both sides. Like I said, I've never harassed, or I don't feel as if I know that they found a decision against me, but in my heart of hearts, I've never stalked anyone. I've never filmed anyone from outside the house, and I'm certainly not sexually obsessed or fixated on Katie Bourne.
Okay.
Yeah, so...
Thank you very much for speaking to us. Can you just film me walking as you leave?
Now listen folks. Yeah. Now maybe Matt wants to put Katie Bourne behind it, but I've got stacks of evidence on Katie Bourne, and I'm not putting this behind me. The Sussex Police banged me up in prison for malicious broadcasting just for telling the truth, right? So I'm not going to let go. Sorry?
Oh, Matt hasn't put his foot in it.
Of course he hasn't put his foot in it.
Right.
All he's done is tell the truth.
Couples, you mentioned her name.
I mentioned her name.
Oh, that's all right.
This is going up on the internet, and if they want to come and do me again, they know where I live.
Okay.
Okay, let's go and get a coffee. The coffees are on me. Okay, folks, I'll finish this off when I get home.
Asked me, and I was...
God bless. It was a great day, especially the last part. I thought these people were from Hoaxtead Research. Turn out they're from the evening news, whoever they are. But we've had a result. I'm telling you, it couldn't have gone better. I mean, it's over for Matt. He's a free man. Trust me, this is just the beginning. God bless.